Caroline, do you have any intention of coming out again for another one of our family reunions? You seem to be very stubborn, don't you? Especially since you have no relation whatsoever to the rest of my family.
Good evening, Jolie. Yes, I do intend to come out again to your family reunion, but I didn't realize that it would be such a big issue for you.
Well, it is a big issue for us here indeed. You are going to interfere with all of our plans by showing up once more, and I would strongly suggest that you stay home instead.
Wait, I really don't understand how I am interfering.
I've heard that lately you've been whining about having to work constantly, and that's why you never prepare anything for my son to eat. Ken is going to die of hunger because of you. You better start feeding my son some more meals soon or else. Don't you realize that the only reason he's coming back home to me all the time is because you never provide him with any food? He always arrives saying he hasn't eaten in days, and that you're never home to help him make something after he finishes his work. Honestly, why did he have to marry such a worthless woman as you?
I'm sorry, but in my situation, I have a lot of work to do and not a lot of time to be home. And so, to ensure that things around the house don't fall apart, I ask him to take care of some of the chores for me. He should be able to cook for himself if he has to, and I have no problem with him eating out if he doesn't have the time or motivation to cook.
Really?
So, now do you comprehend why I haven't been there to cook for him lately?
I cannot believe any of this. You've got to be kidding me.
What?
Making your husband do all the cooking and chores for you? What on earth do you think you're doing to my son? He should be working a job himself instead of catering to a wife like you.
Excuse me? Well, right now, I'm the one who is working outside the house, for the most part.
Well, I've never heard anything about that from him. I'm telling you right now that you are making him do all the housework while you go out and have fun is what makes you a terrible wife. Can't you see that you're a disgrace?
I feel that you coming to talk to me about all this is not the appropriate choice. I'd recommend you go talk with your son. If you've anything else to say, goodbye now.
Can't even say it himself. He's told me that he's starting to think that getting a divorce is not such a bad idea after all.
Excuse me? Is that something Ken really said about us?
Well, of course it is. If he wasn't saying these things right now, then why would I be lying to you about it? From what it looks like, Ken is starting to get really stressed out by what you've been doing to him. I think he's reached his breaking point with the way you've been managing things. And I'm sure you know very well that my son can find another wife after you in no time. After all, you are just an old hag at this point. And he's better off dumping you in the trash and finding himself a younger and more attractive wife.
So, he's really been saying these things? Well, it might also be that you're hallucinating about all of that. And he's never said anything similar to what you're imagining. I guess I really need to go have a conversation with him now about all of this now. Well, I'm going to ask him later today what he thinks.
I've already told him that it's time he leaves you. And that I have your guys' divorce papers all set and ready to go and everything now. I think the best option for you now is to start looking for a new place to live after he leaves you.
Thank you for the suggestion. I'll think about it.
You good-for-nothing daughter-in-law. I'm not kidding around anymore. You need to hurry up and come back here right now. Where did you disappear to, anyway?
I felt that I had no reason to stay in a place like that, so I decided to leave. You were already making snide remarks at me before today, but when I showed up to meet everyone, you began to bully me even more. But I suppose I'm not too shocked, since you've been treating me like that for a long time now. And this time, I just happened to realize I can't tolerate that nonsense from you anymore.
What's wrong with you? Are you trying to blame me for your departure now?
Well, aren't you being a horrible mother-in-law to me?
How dare you, huh?
I was already expecting you to say some nasty things to me today at the reunion, but today you announced that everyone would get to eat that Wagyu steak except for me, who you called an outsider. And then, after that, you kept calling calling me names like a child would. Well, I'm not going to be your target any longer, Jolie.
What's the big deal about that? I mean, you are an outsider after all, right? How could any of us ever think of calling you a member of our family? And as of right now, you already know that Ken is going to divorce you. And then you really will be a total stranger, right?
I know that very well, and I know that you will do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm aware that you don't regard me as part of your family. But today was too much for me. I can no longer sit around and let you behave that way towards me.
What are you talking about? You're the one that crashed our family event uninvited. So can you stop complaining about what I said about you? Maybe if you would have just listened to me and never showed up in the first place, you wouldn't have to be sobbing like a baby now.
Oh, is that so? So you're going to tell me it's my fault now that you ruined the mood of the reunion?
That's right. Who else besides you could have done that? Today was supposed to be the day my family got together to have a good time and eat some delicious steak. And since you came uninvited, you're only allowed to eat the fat scraps.
I'm going home.
Oh my gosh! You really did let all of this affect you.
Say whatever you want about me and what I'm doing. I see that there is no point in me being around you today, and that's why I'm leaving. But listen, Jolie.
What?
I'm completely fine with us becoming total strangers, since that's what you want. But know that I won't be the one in trouble after I've gone home. Please, remember what I've said. Okay?
Wait a minute. What the hell are you saying? I'm so happy right now to see that you'll be gone from my life forever. This is the best day of my life.
Is that really how you feel? Well, then I hope you can keep being happy that I'm gone. I'm leaving now, so have a nice day. And make sure to tell Ken that I'm on my way home now as well. And if he wants to know why I've left, tell him to check the text. I'll be sending him soon.
And while you're at it, you get out of my son's house and leave him alone for me.
I think that I will do that now. Goodbye.
Caroline, what is your current location? I'm sure my son has been attempting to reach you multiple times as well right now. Why are you ignoring his phone calls?
I don't have any motivation to answer his calls. And I'm in the process of returning to my home now.
Huh? So you were not joking when you said you'd be going back home?
I repeated to you several times that I was heading home, didn't I? That should have been conveyed to you, that I was really going to head home. And why would I not be heading home after the numerous times you harassed me? You even announced to everyone that I was only permitted to have the side dishes while everyone else got to enjoy that Wagyu steak. All that nonsense from you really irritated me and actually made me very angry.
I don't care about what caused you to leave right now. My husband is furious with me and things are looking very bad.
And he has the justification to be furious with you.
What on earth are you talking about? So this all really is because of you and what you schemed?
I didn't scheme anything. You just happened to push me over the edge and made me angry. I had initially really liked everyone in your family and considered myself as a member of you guys. But today, I lost all those feelings and no longer regard myself as your daughter-in-law. So, I informed your husband and your son that I'd stop sending you guys any money and that I'd cease financially supporting his business.
Pardon me? Sending us money? Financially supporting his business?
I'm sure you were clueless about any of this happening, but after having learned about this from me, I'm sure your face has turned pale, right? And I'm sure that with your husband being so displeased with you now, the reunion is essentially over, right? It must resemble hell there right now, with him swearing and waving his arms around wildly.
It certainly is hell here. He's been berating me in front of everyone in the family. If anything, he's making it appear as though I'm the one that did something wrong here.
Well, you're not mistaken to think that you did, in fact, do something very wrong.
It's all because of my husband getting this angry at me that I've been totally humiliated in front of the whole family. Why is this all happening to me? What the hell is this about? You sending us money? And what kind of financial support have you been providing his company?
You seem to be the only person who never knew anything about both of those things. Even Ken was aware of all of this. Yet he allowed you to act like that towards me for some reason, making me doubt my relationship with him.
What are you saying, Caroline? Clarify all of this to me right now.
Did your husband not explain it all to you yet? When your husband's company was in trouble, I came in with the assistance of my company to help him recover.
Wait a minute. What are you babbling about? His company was in trouble?
Last year, one of his customers went bankrupt, so his company never received any of the money owed to him by them. And that resulted in his company going into the red. And it was anticipated that his company would collapse soon after as well because of all of that. But thanks to my company and the fact that I purchased a lot of shares in his company, he was rescued from having to say goodbye to what made his money. And ever since then, I've been the main shareholder of his company.
What kind of story is that? This is the first time I'm ever hearing of such a thing happening to him.
Well, based on how my husband never told you anything, I guess it runs in their genes. And had he explained all of this to you, I'm sure you would have never paid attention, considering the kind of woman you are.
He didn't need you to help him.
Say whatever you think, but you know very well that without me, your husband would have lost his company a long time ago. And after that, all his money would have gone down the drain. And of course, since he's the father of my husband, I decided to continue with supporting his company out of respect and loyalty. But after what happened to me today, I believe that I can no longer afford to hand over any more money to him. And therefore, will stop helping his company stay above the water. That's why I told him a little bit ago about everything. And also, I haven't only been supporting his company through money, but through lending equipment to him. But I'm going to need all that back from him now. So just be aware that his company might not be able to operate after the end of this week.
Wait, hold on a minute, Caroline. I get that you keep going on about your guy's work and everything, but I can't understand half of what you're saying.
How can you not understand? It's very simple. I have a company of my own, and I've been using my profits to help your husband's company survive. But now, I'm done with that. I'm done with all of you.
You have a company of your own? I knew that. I heard that part from everyone already. But a company being run by a female? Really? I was sure that you only ran a little place for fun to get out of doing the chores. Perhaps you were just running one of those online-only businesses or something, right?
How dare you? My work is not for play, and I'd never do anything to try and get out of doing chores unless it were me making millions. And as for online-only businesses, you can make a lot of money through them and influence a lot of people. Of course, my business is a lot more than an online business now, as I have offices everywhere, and I am considered larger than your husband.
I never knew that.
Well, that's just how it is, Jolie. And now I'm aware that you don't want me in your family anymore. And for some reason, your son, my husband, doesn't seem to care about how you harassed me all these years. So, I'm going to leave your family. Now that it's very clear to me that there's no way of being seen as your daughter-in-law, I have done all I could to help you and your family through your tough times. But I can no longer afford to do all that for any of you. I'm so happy to be a stranger to you all now.
Wait, hold on a second, Caroline. Caroline, what do you mean by that?
I'm I'm saying that I'm going to go ahead and divorce your son. And thanks to the advice you gave me before, I've prepared everything for our divorce, including those divorce papers you gave me. So when I get back home, I'm heading right to City Hall with them and handing them in. And that will make us being strangers officially. Isn't that just wonderful?
What? Are you out of your mind? Do you have the conscience of what you're doing, Caroline? You really went ahead and prepared for that? And Ken was okay with all of it?
He happened to care more about what you told him to think of me than about how I was supporting you guys and your husband's company. Such a freaking idiot. He started to talk down to me because he saw that you were picking on me. And to be honest, I was thinking of leaving him even before you recommended it to me. So thankfully, I was in the same boat as all of you and got all this prepared just in time.
But then what was going to happen with you being the primary shareholder for my husband's company, huh?
Have you not listened to a single thing I've been saying? I'm going to be leaving your son and become a stranger to you all. So I will no longer invest in your husband's company. And I already told that to your husband. Hence why he's so upset with you now.
What, so you actually want to go through with stopping all that support?
Why wouldn't I want to? You made it clear to me that you don't need my money anymore. But hey, thank God we can all be complete strangers now. Right?
This isn't about you being a stranger to me now. What are we going to do if my husband's company falls back into the red after you pull your money out? He's only going to become even more pissed at me. And the next time, I'm sure he'll not go easy on me.
I don't give a flying freak about what happens to all of you.
Wait, what?
Jesus freaking Christ. Are you that selfish about everything? You've been telling me how much you want me to be a stranger. Yet now that I'm leaving you and all your family, you're going to start crying that you want me back again. My husband may not have seen it at the time, but the way you guys treated me is now going to really affect your husband big time. So don't cry about it to me, because that's all on you.
What do you mean it's all on me? I'm your mother-in-law, remember? You think you can just blame me for all of this?
I sure do. And I am. And so will your husband. Also, you're not even my mother-in-law anymore. So go screw yourself, please. You asked for me to become a stranger to you, and I answered. But now that I've answered, you might have to find out what to do about your husband's soon-to-fail company.
Excuse me? You're a huge jerk for doing something like this to me.
But this is all the fruits to your labors, correct? Go apologize to your husband now for all of this, and hope to God that your apologies will be enough to get him to forgive you.
What am I going to do? Caroline, all of this could be saved if you just came back here and enjoyed the steak with us, right? You know now that I never meant for things to go this far, right? My husband is seriously going to kill me over this, so please come back.
It's a little bit too late for that, Jolie. I'm starting to really feel hungry, so I think I'll go enjoy myself a nice juicy steak on my way home.
You can come back here and have one of the steaks we have. You can have mine, and I'll eat something else.
No, thank you. If I come back there and saw your face, I might lose my appetite. Now you go ahead and take care of all your problems yourself.
Huh? No, please, Jolie, think again.
You and I are both strangers now, so you shouldn't be asking me to help with your personal troubles anyway. So don't ever talk to me again, okay? And one final thing, this house is under my name. So go tell Ken that he's got nowhere left to go home to now. She threw the keys at Jolie and walked out of the door. Well, then you have a wonderful rest of your evening with a husband who wants to kill you and a son that's too stupid to understand what's happened.
Wait, Caroline, don't go. Please, I'm begging you. How could you do this to me? What am I going to do now? Please don't ignore my messages.
Despite everything that had happened, Jolie still made desperate attempts to come to me and ask for my help as often as she could. However, I had already filed for divorce and severed all ties with her, so she was nothing more to me than a complete stranger, just as she had always wanted to be. Her husband, who was furious with her for betraying him, did not let her off easily either. He dragged her to court and forced her to sign the divorce papers. And then he kicked her out of his house without any mercy, leaving her homeless and destitute. She did not receive any of his properties or assets because she had ruined his business reputation with her scandalous behavior. And so she had nothing to her name except for the clothes she was wearing and a few other accessories. Ken, on the other hand, faced a similar fate. I threw all his belongings and furniture out of the house and told him to never come back. He ran away to find his mother, and they moved into a shabby apartment together, living in poverty and disgrace. He did try to beg me to take him back 1 or 2 times, sobbing on the front porch and pleading with me to let him inside, but I was never home when he showed up. And I only found out about his pathetic attempts from a neighbor of mine who said they had called the police on him because he was making too much noise. The rest of the family also disowned them and cut off all contact, leaving them both clueless and confused about what they had done wrong to deserve such a harsh punishment. Jolie's former husband had to sell his company soon after because I withdrew my support and investment from it. And he sold it to none other than me so that I could merge it with my own company and make it even more successful. He told me during the sale that he was somewhat grateful for the way things turned out because he was also sick and tired of his son and wife constantly leeching off him and taking him for granted. I suppose I was not the only one who managed to get out of the situation unscathed, and it was nice to hear that he could enjoy his retirement sooner without having to deal with that nasty witch, Jolie.